everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ask the Expert Show, hosted by my co-host, Teresa Ream, and myself, Patty Farmer. We're looking forward to sharing today's industry expert with you, and we encourage you to really don't just listen, right? We really want to encourage you to connect, to engage, and to implement, right? So we're going to encourage you that when you get off of this and you listen to it, that you just say, you know what, what's the one thing that I really want to take away, implement in my business right now? Like maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But at the very least, make sure you connect with Teresa and I, make sure you connect with our guest, because it's not what happens here, it's what happens after here, right? I like to say it's not about networking, it's next working, right? Because it's always about what happens next.
Yes.
Right. So I think that is really important. We also want to thank our sponsor, the Professional Women's Network of Monterey, and you can find out more about them and join us at www.pwnmonterey.org. I'm going to pass it over to Teresa, my co-host today. She's going to tell you a little bit more about our guest.
Thank you, Patty. Today, we will be talking about business strategy and marketing with quizzes with Nan McKay. So let me tell you a little bit about Nan. Nan McKay is a multifaceted entrepreneur, digital marketing expert, speaker, and author with a fervor for empowering women to lead fulfilling, zestful lives. She offers a broad range of products and services, including the Leader Accelerator Program, designed to boost supervisory skills for both larger corporations and individuals. Nan extends her business and marketing skills to small businesses, providing services such as Sharpen Your Focus, an AI-empowered business and marketing strategy consulting service. Her business and marketing templates are available on her website at nanmckaykconnects.com. Beyond her entrepreneurial ventures, Nan is an engaging media personality, hosting a podcast and running 2 YouTube channels. She has authored several books and featured courses to fortify women in their entrepreneurial journey. She is president of the Nan McKay and Associates since she founded it in 1980, a company with 10 offices around the country. Recognizing her significant contributions in housing industry, 2 buildings in Minnesota bear her name, the Nan McKay Building and the McKay Manor. Oh, that's amazing. Welcome, Nan. We are so happy to have you on our show. And I first have to shamelessly plug your book. It's called Gold in the Golden Years. And, you know, I haven't read anything since this kind of book since I read Tim Ferriss's Tribe of Mentors, which is really a big compliment because I love him. And he interviews and the action steps and the systems in your book are just amazing. So I have to say that right off the bat.
Well, there's a lead in.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I really appreciate that. And Patty, so nice to be on the show. Thank you so much.
Welcome. So let's just dive in. Boy, with that intro, we have a lot of things that we can cover today, and I want that our audience gets the most amount of value because I know you have a lot of things to share. So let's just dive in. So with all of that, Nan, and there was a lot there, so that's pretty amazing and exciting too. But what would you say with all of that, what's the number one thing that differentiates you from everybody else in your industry?
Probably trial by fire. I've been an entrepreneur for over 40 years, and I have founded 6 businesses. I was awarded the 2019 California Woman Business Owner of the Year by NABO. So I've been that direction. I have walked that walk. I've taught leadership courses for over 20 years. I've presented probably 50,000 people. But I decided when my son took over as CEO and did a lot of the heavy lifting that I would start another business. So I started this business called Nan McKay Connects. And what I found was, wow, even though I've started all these other businesses, it is a different world. When I started back in 1980, I mean, we didn't have even the internet. We didn't have all the things that we have today for technology. And when you fast forward all the way to today, you're really in a different world with everything high tech. You're doing AI, doing all these things. And I had to start from the beginning. And it took me a while. It took me probably 4 years to really feel like I had so much of this under my belt. So then I thought, I really don't want other people to go through the pain that I've been going through. How do I build an email list? How do I entice people, in a sense, to try what I've put together so hard for so long, these last 4 years? How do I put that together and make it something that people want to buy? So what I decided is, in my latest endeavor, is to help people like me. And that's small at this point with my Nan McKay Connects, woman-owned business, and to create both business and marketing strategy with them. Now, I do use AI. I've talked about AI. I think it's very, very helpful in AI. But the thing that really helped me was figuring out what is my best lead magnet. Now, let's just talk for a second about what lead magnets are. You probably already know, but let me tell you, because I sure didn't in the beginning. But lead magnets are those things that you put out. It could be an ebook, it could be a template, it could be just something you have written that you thought would be helpful, but it's something to get people to give you their email address. Because if you have created this fabulous mousetrap, this wonderful thing that is the best thing since sliced bread, but nobody knows about it, what good is it? I mean, it is nice to put it on your desk if it's something permanent like that, and you can pet it or whatever you're going to do. But the reality is, no, I need to blast my idea out into the world. And how do I do that? And that's where things called lead magnets come in. Now, for a while, I thought people would talk about lead magnets, and then they would talk about landing pages. And I was like, what's the difference between a lead magnet and a landing page? I don't understand this. So let me kind of quickly go through that, and then you'll see how I'm leading into what I think is the best lead magnet and why and how it works, which is.
So is this the one thing that differentiates you from others in your industry? So you're going to tie all that back around to the question, which is, what is the number one thing that differentiates you from your industry?
And I just keep on going, don't I?
No, I love it though, because you gave us a lot of value there. So I hope our audience was really hearing that. That was a lot of value in how she was saying that she does it. And you're right. I mean, build it and they will come only works if they know you built it. Right. So, exactly. Right. So that it is so important. Like, how are you going to get them to know you build it, which is very, very important. And like you said, AI can help with that. I just got back from the MyCon conference. So that was all about marketing AI. So I think it is important if it's used correctly and you use your own voice. But with that said, I do think it is very, very important. And I think the thing that you said that I really love is that so many times we decide who we want to talk to and we decide what our message is going to be. And it's really, really nice, I think, and very refreshing, actually, Nan, to hear somebody say, you know what, these are the problems I had. Like, this is what I did. I had this business and these were the struggles and these were the gaps and, these were the missing pieces. And then to create a business after you've created all these other businesses, right? To come back and say, you know what, that's a problem that I can help solve. I have a solution for that. And then for you to create that. And I got to say, I think that is your differentiator right there, is that you were able to not just look at big picture, which I think a lot of times people can do, but then to break it down and say, what would be the solution or several solutions to a problem that people have. So I have to tell you, I think that is very, very valuable.
Well, what I'm trying to do, and I guess this is why I'm saying it's the past and what differentiates me, is that for the past in that original business, what I did was make HUD regulations simple to understand. And I am porting that, in a sense, over to this business to try to make things like marketing simple and easy to understand. Because that's the key to this. If with all these terms being thrown out there, like landing pages and lead magnets, and what do you want for this and that, you're starting, it just gets overwhelming. And so we have to cut through all of that stuff and cut it into bite-sized pieces and make it understandable for people. And then when I can create templates or I can create things for people as well, that helps more. But that is what differentiates me. Trial by fire. I've been there, I've done it. And so now hopefully I can make it easier for everybody else.
Yes, Nan, I
that.
got to know you really well at a retreat in Napa Valley. And what really stood out for me was when you said you were 80 years old, I was like, what? You were immediately my hero, because what you did was you had this really sharp mind. And when you did something, you followed through from beginning to end. And I really like that. You made all the components. You just didn't stop at component number 3. You followed all the way through in your thinking. And you don't find people like that too often. So I really admired that about you.
Well, that is kind of you to say. I connected with you right away. And when I thought, oh, wow, look at the business she has built, I am so impressed. So it was a good connection.
Yes, it was.
Teresa is definitely a poster child for a serial entrepreneur and someone who has definitely managed to marry, so to speak, building multiple businesses for a very, very long time, 40 plus years, right, Teresa?
42.
And to be able to do that and manage to do the thing that she's passionate about, which is to mentor women and be a community leader. So she's definitely the poster child for that. So
Thank you, Patty.
yes, you're
And
so
she's
welcome.
not even 80 yet.
I know, right? She's still
I'm
got
sneaking
lots
up
to
on
do.
you.
She's got lots to do. So Nan, what would you say? So, you have all this really great value that you're giving us, and I'm sure that our audience is thinking, oh, good, like share some resources or business tips. Because I know that when I go to a website, if they have a button that says resources, like it's the first thing that I look at,
Yes.
right? I want to know, oh, what are the resources, and whether they're, free resources or whatever the case may be. I'm sure you have some. So could you share with the audience a resource or two and maybe a business tip?
Oh, this is so funny that you're asking this, because yesterday, like last night, I just sent an email to the website person saying, would you please change the menu item from books to resources? because I have all these other things now I want to offer, and I'm thinking, where can I put them? So I'm thinking that is the category that I'm doing, is resources.
Well, I think that it's really good when you do resources, because when the navigation tab says resources, it draws our eye because we want that. But then once you get to the resource page, you can have subcategories that say books or, whatever the case may be in that. But what draws the eye is really those resources, because everyone wants to know. And I think the resources that people share says something about us too, right? Says something about them. Like, you're thinking about, maybe you could be on their website because you're thinking about hiring them. It could be because you want to network with them or collaborate with them, or whatever the case may be, introduce them to somebody. But when you immediately go to the resources, whatever they think is a resource that they want to share says something, right? And then when you read the about page, of course, and you get to know them and stuff, it really does too. But I find that the resource page says a lot about someone. So go ahead and share a few with us. What you got?
Well, my resources is I put together 4 templates. And because the things that are hardest sometimes is zoning in, or I should say maybe zeroing in on what really do I want to do with this business. So many entrepreneurs like me start into it and think, what do I want to do? And then you start thinking, well, what do I know? And you go through a whole bunch of things that takes so much time. So I've got a template on business strategy. I have one on sales and marketing, customer journey and branding, and social media. I have 4 templates. And I
that's
think
beautiful.
those are
Yes.
things that you then work through and say to yourself, okay, now I'm starting to crystallize this. Now I'm starting to do it. Because if you don't, the problem is you waste time and money. I have been through so many coaches. I have been through so many programs that I paid a whole lot of money for. And it all comes down to zeroing in, I think, on those 4 things. So
No, I agree with you. I think that is really important. Although I think templates are really important, but they're a starting point, right? You know, a template is just a starting point, but I do agree with you. So what kind of resources do you have that the audience can be writing down? Like, do you have an app that you really would recommend? You know, a lot of times, just give you a couple examples. Sometimes people like to come on, oh, a resource I use every day is Trello, or, oh, a resource I use every day is Canva, or something that our audience can write down. And as soon as they get out, they're like, oh my gosh, she said these great resources and I want to go find them because maybe I've never used them before, or something like that. So do you have some type of business tip, an app, or some type of resource that is a writer downer for our audience that they can just take? And what do you like to use?
I'm going to give you one that I think is one of the best ones that I just discovered maybe a month ago. How many people are saying to you, shorts are the thing, video's the thing, get your message out fast? Because if you don't, people may not have the patience to be able to listen to your whole podcast, for instance. So I've got about 300 podcasts I have posted and interviews, but they're all like 20, 30, 40, some even an hour long. So I thought, I've got to condense this into a short. How could I make that, all that information, bam, within less than a minute? And I found a way. I found a way to do it. That's so easy. Anybody can do it. It's called, and write this down, it's called Reduct, REDUCT .video. Now, here's what I can do. I can take, all I do is upload the video or audio file into this app, and it then puts out a very good script for it in text. Then I go through the text, and what I'm doing is picking out enough of the very engaging, enticing words, phrases, sentences, etc., that I think would be less than a minute, but would make people go, oh yeah, I want to hear more.
Like clips.
Clips. And the interesting part is that all you do is go through your full document, you highlight the areas that you want to keep. And so maybe one is up here and another one is 3 or 4 paragraphs down. You highlight this, you highlight this one. It takes those highlights, puts them into another document that is a text document. And you go through and you go, oh, here's some extra superfluous words. You can delete those. And then you say, go, you hit the go button, and voila, you have a put together short video. It's a video short.
Really?
So instead of having to go through this editing like this until your finger is like, oh my God, I've gone too far. You simply push the go button and say create it, and it creates it for you. And you can do it over and over as many times as you want, but you'll get the gist of it, because you pretty well feel what you get to sort of feel how many words are in about a minute. Keep it under a minute, then you put your shorts in there, and YouTube will automatically put it in as a short because it's under a minute.
That's fabulous. There's another one called Descript that actually does that too. Descript works really, really well too. So that's like another resource. But yes, I think that is really a good one. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Can I give you one more? You want one more or not?
Oh, you can do one more if you'd like.
Okay. It's called Pictory, Pictory. And here's how I can use it. And so think about how you might be able to do this. We realize that if any of the courses that we're doing, if we want to focus or entice or engage millennials or Gen Zs at all, then their short bursts, their video rather than audio, if they can do it, that's what they want. And they don't want long, and they want it concise, and they want it in maybe 2 minutes, maybe up to 4 minutes. So think of the course. If you've developed a course, and again, what you do is you upload it to the program. It gives you the the text, and then you use the text. It creates pictures for you that are video behind your words. And you can either use an AI person to do the talking, or you can just simply record it yourself. And so it's about 2 to 4 minutes. And instead of your course being 30 minutes or more, it is shorter bursts. You maybe have 10 or 12 of them, but it's very concise and yet shows that picture behind it. So it's got the movement constantly. And that appeals to the millennials and the Gen Zs.
Oh, I think that is a great tool.
Yes, the faster, the better. I just want to know what you do and how much it is, and then we're going to go for it.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Nan, what do you love about your business right now? So if you had to condense it for us, what do you love? What's the one thing you're really loving about your business right now?
I like to be creative. I like to be, if I can produce something that can be the wind beneath somebody else's wings, that's what I love, because I feel like I've made a contribution, I've made a difference, because I've cut through the hard stuff and found a way to create something to make it easier for you.
No, that's beautiful.
Yes, that is.
That's just the way it is.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
So, Nan, what is the best to you, right? You know, because it's always subjective, right? What is the best testimonial you've ever received from a client? What did they have to say?
You gave me more than I expected.
Oh, that's good.
We call that.
I bet you did.
Back in the other world, my other housing world, we call that lanyap. And that is just giving somebody a little bit of extra. And we've always done that in all the seminars that we did with the other business. And it's stuck with me forever. If I could just give you just a little more than what you thought you were going to get, maybe even a lot more.
That's the wow factor.
Then I feel like they do appreciate it. And I think that's a nicest compliment. I mean, sure, you get all the other stuff, but that's the best. Is I feel like I have made a big contribution to that they can take home, and they can be more successful with it.
A little surprise at the end. Yes.
I love that. So, Nan, how can people connect with you? So tell us what your website is, and then tell us what social media platform are you the most active on? You know, a lot of times people want to share, you know, every social media platform, but I always really say, tell us the one that you're actually spending the most time on. So where do you hang out? So what's that social media platform, and what's your website so they can connect with you? Because I absolutely know they're going to want to.
I have 2 websites.
Okay.
One is nanmckayconnects.com. And the second one, that's more of a business site. The second one is trailblazersimpact.com. And that's where all of my podcasts and YouTubes and blogs live, on that.
Perfect.
Now, which social media? It's definitely LinkedIn for me. That I have more followers on Facebook, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business person through and through, my heart and soul. And I know so many people from my other business, and that's where they are. And So that's where I live most of the time, I would say. I have a newsletter that I do supposedly monthly, but it's really more. It's probably about 4 times a month. Whenever I get a brainstorm idea, then I share it in the newsletter. So
I love that.
yeah.
I think a lot of times, I think it's nice when people send a newsletter when they have something to say and not just do it to send it, right? So I actually find that very valuable. More people should do that,
I
actually.
do too.
So I love that. So thank you so much. So Teresa, I'm going to turn it over to you for the lightning round questions. You're going to love it.
Do you want to know a little bit more about quiz funnels?
Well, maybe
give you a
maybe
very
at the end of
condensed
the
version of
lightning
that?
round. Go ahead, Teresa.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay, that we'll keep that for the end. The best for the last. Okay, it's time for the lightning round for your short, pithy answers. If you could be remembered for one thing, Nan, what would that be?
I made a difference to one person. Whatever that difference is, it was a positive impact on that one person.
Wow. Wow. It's not all about the limelight for you. It's about helping the
I have
individual.
plenty of limelight, in 80 years, good God, you got enough limelight.
Yes.
But if I can pass it on, that's the important thing, is to take what you've learned, who you are, and pass it on.
I agree. Yes. What is your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
Oh, my biggest failure was to turn everything over in my business too soon to a general manager and not keep close enough tabs. I almost went under in one of my businesses because of that.
Oh, I agree. You have to have that finger on your business's pulse at all times. And that's what I did many years ago. I had certain reports that I could tell what was going on in production and finance, in everything. So that's super important.
I had those reports, but do you know what she was doing? It looked like we had all the money going out. She put the checks in a file drawer and did not mail them because there wasn't enough revenue to cover the number of checks that she had.
Ooh,
Yes.
that would definitely.
Yes. I've experienced a little bit of that here and there. But the kicker was we had enough revenue and it was like, why aren't you sending the money? No, I know from experience on that one. One last question, and then we'll get to the question that we hadn't asked you. What do you think the world will look like in 50 years?
Well, it's interesting. I'm reading a series of books that is focused. It's based in 50 years from now. And so I can tell you what's in that book. I don't know. I tend to think we are perhaps the luckiest people of all so far, in the sense that I don't know that the world will ever have the luxury of what we have in 50 years, through the climate change, through people that just seem to be a little meaner in areas, through challenges to integrity. So it's not that I'm not glad I won't be here in 50 years, but on the other hand, I think we need to really put some thought in practice and say, maybe I have to sacrifice for the future a little bit. And people today are not used to sacrifice. They were back when we had those depression days and that kind of stuff, but people today are not. And I think people are so much about me. Everything is about me. And instead of being about the world and making it a better place for the future. So
one reason why
I'm a positive person, but I'm a little worried about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it had changed. The reason why I asked that, I was telling my grandson, we were talking about the actors' strike, and I was explaining why people loved actors over anime. Because they were real people and they were only going to last for a certain amount of time. And you really wanted to know all about them. So thank you for answering that. So Nan, what is the question you wished we'd asked you? And what is that answer?
Well, why?
So now you're going to tell us about the quiz phone. Now you're going to tell us about the quiz.
Right.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. Why would you want to use a quiz? Let's start there. And what is a quiz when we're talking about it? The quiz is not just a one question thing that you answer the question and that's it, and you get their email address. It's far more than that. When I'm talking about a quiz funnel, I'm talking about a pretty good sized system in the sense that you have your hook and you have about 12 or 13 questions that you're asking people to divide it into 4 buckets. And the buckets are categories that you then can say, oh, okay, I see what this person thinks about this particular issue or their pain point or their problem. And then you have a video, you have a report that they have, and it leads to a solution, which could be a webinar, it could be a course, it could be whatever. And the key is that if you can build a quiz that is targeted to your market, then you can use that quiz. You know how we're all afraid of cold calls? Maybe you're not, but and Katarina is trying to get me over this, but I mean, most of us are like, cold calls are so scary. It takes away a lot of that because you already know a whole lot about the person through the quiz. So when you get the results, you know exactly how they answered the questions, you know which category they are in, what their primary pain point is, and you don't waste time with a lot of people who really are not interested in your product at all. So I think the difference in a quiz, and it is the #1 lead generator today, the #1, if you're doing more than just answering a simple question that anybody in life might answer, like what kind of pizza do you like or something. But if you're targeting your question to your market, yes, it'll cut down the number of people who respond, but the ones that you get are gold, because those are the ones that you now can target to and say, I'm going to talk to this person because I can solve that problem.
That is perfect. Thank you so much, Nan, for sharing that. I think people really, sometimes we do them. People love to take assessments. I have assessment as well, and it is a great lead generator. But not only that, but I think when a quiz is done right, it's also a tool and a resource that adds so much value to them as well as to you. So I love things that actually are a win-win-win for everybody. So I love that. So that's fabulous. Thank you so much. So Nan, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate it. I love that you shared so much about the resources. I think that was really good. And that you took the extra time to really tell everybody how and why they should use it. You know, a lot of times people don't realize, well, how and why should I use that? So I love that you took the extra time to be able to do that. So thank you for joining Teresa and I for being here with us, and to our audience. Thank you so much for being here with us and tuning in every single week for the Ask the Expert show. We appreciate it. We appreciate you being here with me. And we also appreciate you checking out our sponsor. Again, that is the Professional Women's Network of Monterey, lovingly called PWN. Find out more about them at pwnmonterey.org. So thank you so much. We will see you next time on our next episode of Ask the Expert. Thank you so much.